So, I went to see Rampage. Why? I'm not sure. I mean, it's a video game tie-in with The Rock, and even when you heard those two facts, you already can kind of tell what the problems are going to be. I mean, it's a Rock movie, so you know exactly what it is going to be before you even go into the damn cinema. And also, we all know about the dreaded video game curse, but I ignored all that, and I did go and see Rampage. You know what? It was alright. Now, thankfully, for most of it, no one takes any of this too seriously, and that's exactly how it had to be played. I mean, the plot is about a big jacked up dude that's trying to stop a giant crocodile, a giant wolf, and a giant gorilla from destroying Chicago. There's only so serious you can take this before, quite ironically, I'm going to start raising my eyebrow, because you know The Rock used to raise his eyebrow when he was a wrestler, and now I'm raising my eyebrow because I'm like, dudes, what are we doing? You get my point. That's not the case though. Well, for most of it, but we'll get to that in a second. Rampage even goes so far as to deliberately introduce plot holes and then have them stupidly explained by some of the cast with dumb one-liners. The Rock gets shot at one point and literally looks into the camera, or talks to his mate that he's with, and says, well, I think it missed all the vital organs, so I'm sure I'll be okay. He then forgets about it for 25 minutes, and then during the climactic scene, he's holding where the wound would have been. So all of a sudden he's like, oh, I remembered. It's a bit like when he used to be a wrestler and he forgot to sell. I'm kidding. You're not meant to think that anybody here is taking these things seriously, meaning if you go into the theatre thinking that you're going to take it seriously, then really, if you don't like it, it's on you. Look at the damn poster, look at the damn tagline. The damn tagline is big meets bigger. It's not trying to be anything that you wouldn't expect. And that's why it's fun. By the time we get to downtown Chicago and the monsters are ripping everything up, Dwayne Johnson is just running around and there's explosions. And you know, it's, as I've already said, it's just your traditional Dwayne Johnson movie. It even has two bad guys that are so cliched and they ham it up to such a degree. At one point I was like, this can't be real, this can't actually be happening in the movie because it's quite jarring. But then Rampage starts to find its feet and then all of a sudden, that makes sense. That is the first issue, however. Seemingly thinking that we need some kind of sentimentality here. Yes, everybody involved with Rampage tries to make you care about the relationship between The Rock and the giant gorilla known as George. This actually isn't bad in any sense, and if you're the more emotional type, it may actually drag you in a little bit. I saw someone on Twitter say they cried. Whoever that person was, you're a maniac. But the point is, we go from this to The Rock punching a crocodile in the face. And that's fine, it works. If we could have ignored all of that stuff and just focused on the silly, I think we could have got a sillier product. That's kind of what Rampage lacks. It goes to here, but really, it needed to go to here. It needed to be so weird and so stupid, you sit there, you throw your popcorn in the air and go, this is nonsense. And nonsense is where Rampage is really entertaining. I don't know whether you care about spoilers. If you do, turn this off now. But at one stage, half of this bad guy duo gets eaten by George, and the cameras don't hold back. You literally, like the cameras on below, you're looking at this giant gorilla, and he pops her in her mouth, and you see her chew her up. Now that sounds really grotesque, but again, the film is so over the top. This is over the top too, so it doesn't even feel that bad. It's stupid. It's really stupid. Like if I stand here right now and tell you that I think 2 + 2 = 5, you just think, ugh, what an idiot. Maybe you get a little bit of a laugh and a little bit of a kick out of me. However, I do know that 2 + 2 = 4. Smart guy. With that said, I get there needed to be some form of relationship driving all this forward, and given everything I've just said, why couldn't and why shouldn't it have been The Rock and a giant gorilla? That's pretty dumb, all things considered, and most interactions with the gorilla actually do end up with everyone in this scenario just going, well, I think The Rock's the greatest man of all time, and something else will happen, The Rock will sort it out, and someone else will go, oh, I think The Rock's the greatest man of all time. So it's cliched, but intentionally so, and again, the only people that are really going to hate this are the individuals that go into the cinema going, I think I'm really going to hate this, and therefore, it's like you've already predicted the future. I mean, at one point when they're looking for the antidote to calm down these animals, The Rock and his mate, again, I can't remember her name, but it's not important. I didn't even know The Rock's name. It was Colonel Sanders. It wasn't. Point being, they're looking for this antidote. They're like, oh, we're never going to find it. There's too much stuff. And The Rock goes, it's in that crate. And his mate goes, you did it, Rock. You found it. That's what happens. That actually happens. It's never explained, but there's no need because the explanation is always the same. He's The Rock, and he can figure it out. It also has a suitably ridiculous cast of supporting characters, especially Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Agent Russell. He mostly talks in one-liners with his cool Texas accent, and his plot arc goes like this. I don't like The Rock, I'm going to arrest him. 2, I think I should help The Rock, because why not? That's it. That's the plot. I'm alright with it. Ultimately, that had to happen so we could progress the narrative, So we just did. So hopefully by now you can understand this. We just do whatever we have to do to get from point A to point B to point C, and if we have to stereotype everyone during that ride, well, let's just do it. So if you're thinking about going to see Rampage, but you're unsure and you like the idea of stupidness, I would say yes, you should go and see Rampage. It's one of these high-budget B movies we just don't get anymore. And while, yeah, it's not as good as what Stallone and Schwarzenegger used to do, at least someone's doing it. We don't get movies like this today, but it's still in that league, and I'll take that right now. I just need a little bit, I need a little something. I need some, I don't know, ludicrous films. Finally, I'm getting some ludicrous films. All thanks to The Rock. All he does is make ludicrous films in his grey shirt. I think you've got to be quite devoid as a person and just hate action films altogether if you do indeed sit down with Rampage and come away going, that was pap. You already thought it was pap before you went in, and you just decided to shit on it even more afterwards. And you can pick holes in it, but the movie picks its own holes, which kind of renders that surplus to requirements. You're never going to want to watch this again. You want to watch it once, and you want to watch it with a load of junk food, and then it finishes, and you go home and think about the dumbness you just saw. It's alright, therefore I would say, go see Rampage. Now all of this content is supported by patreon.com/316, so please click the link in the description or on the screen, like, share and subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you again soon.